In case you guys didn't notice, Blizzard is really blowing it. In the last year alone, they've killed the Diablo franchise, released one of the worst WoW expansions to date, and completely ended Heroes of the Storm esports. Their only game that seems to be going strong is Overwatch, and even then, it's hard to tell the difference between embellished esports publicity and actual player experience. The sad part is I think they know exactly what they're doing. Take the Diablo Immortal fiasco, for example. Obviously, they didn't expect such a harsh reaction when they announced the game at BlizzCon, but that was only a minor setback. At the end of the day, Diablo Immortal is still going to fill the role of a mobile game designed to rake in millions of dollars in microtransactions, whether the Western audience wants to admit it or not. Still not convinced? Let's take a look at WoW's latest expansion, Battle for Azeroth. In case you don't play the game, here's a quick summary. BFA completely gutted class design, introduced a ton of new features that no one asked for, and continues to lock as much relevant content behind the weekly reset as possible. Anyone who takes the game seriously hates this shit, but people who play casually have everything to gain. If you don't care or know how to min max your character, it's absurdly easy to get all the gear you need from World Quests, Warfronts, and Raid Finder, which pretty much amount to participation trophies in terms of difficulty. Once again, Blizzard wants to appeal to the lowest common denominator, rather than design an experience that's excellent for their dedicated fans. Really quickly, let's touch on some common opinions of what the hell happened to this company. It's no secret Blizzard wasn't always like this. You could argue they're responsible for inventing the modern MMO, RTS, and ARPG genres. World of Warcraft still resonates as one of the most iconic PC titles in the history of video games. You can even find YouTube videos of optimistic Jeff Kaplans and David Brevix giving nerdy speeches about how they designed their favorite gameplay elements. The most popular explanation for why Blizzard went to shit doesn't actually have anything to do with Blizzard themselves. People love to point fingers at the 2013 acquisition that merged Blizzard with the gaming superpower Activision. Part of me thinks that this is because Blizzard fans refuse to believe their childhood best friend of a company could do anything wrong, but who knows. What I do know is this merge was actually a good thing for Activision Blizzard, at least financially. Since 2013, their stock has nearly quintupled with only some minor adjustments every couple years. So if you want to blame Activision for ruining your favorite game developer, go ahead. But you'll need to credit them for helping Blizzard achieve an impressive amount of financial success as well. So where am I going with all this? I'm sure you get it by now. Businesses have to keep growing if they want to survive, so this shouldn't be any new information. That's just how capitalism works. But what if I told you I haven't been completely honest? When I said that Activision Blizzard knows exactly what they're doing, I may have been wrong. You see, up until a few months ago, this would have been a fine statement to make. Sure, people were complaining like they always do, but WoW players were still optimistic about their classes getting fixed. Overwatch was winning supposedly huge amounts of esports awards, and Diablo fans were getting hyped for the inevitable D4 announcement. Plus, stocks were up. Since then, things have, on an unprecedented scale, gone seriously downhill for Blizzard. WoW's 8.1 patch failed to address key player concerns. Prominent Overwatch community member A Seagull made a viral video exposing how horrible the game's ranked experience is. HOTS is basically entering maintenance mode, and of course, this shit happened. They even promoted J. Allen Brack to president of the company. Yeah, literally the you think you want it, but you don't guy. Most importantly, stocks are currently the lowest they've been in the past 2 years. To be fair, video game stocks are mostly down across the board, with companies like EA and Ubisoft performing almost as poorly as Activision Blizzard. But because Blizz is currently leading the charge in terms of the degree of these dips, I still feel comfortable using it as a metric for their success. So, like I said, maybe I was wrong about Blizzard knowing what they're doing. Anyone who has played their games for a significant amount of time knows that Blizzard has always been excellent about taking traditionally obtuse systems and making them more accessible. But what we have here isn't just a company alienating its hardcore player base. No, we have a company that is getting progressively worse and worse at listening to players in general. Maybe I spend too much time on Reddit or just talking to the people directly around me, but it feels like Blizzard legitimately doesn't know what people want from their games anymore. Let's look at WoW again, since I have the most experience with that game. During the alpha and beta testing phases of Battle for Azeroth, Blizzard introduced an endgame gearing system called Azerite Armor. In theory, this was supposed to make up for our general loss of power due to the class changes and pruning that come along with pretty much every expansion these days. In reality, this whole system has thus far amounted to little more than occasionally doing a little more damage or healing sometimes. Players called this out during testing, said they didn't want it, and asked for a greater focus on core class gameplay. Blizzard basically ignored them. Another example is the announcement of Diablo Immortal at BlizzCon. Standing in front of a crowd of hundreds of their most die-hard fans, Blizzard chose to dramatically reveal a mobile Diablo game that was being outsourced to a third-party developer. I don't think I need to go into any more detail.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have
Everyone's got a
phones,
phone.
right?
The point I'm getting at is this: Blizzard is not connected with their players anymore. They have developed a reputation of not listening, not communicating, and not making popular changes to their games. The worst part for them is that it doesn't matter if someone's been playing their games for 10 days or 10 years. No one wants to engage with a video game that's perceived as getting worse, or in Here's the Storm's case, dying. If anyone at Blizzard is watching this right now, please listen to me. I'm sure you're making the best decisions you think you can based on player data and quarterly earnings, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Stop doing stupid shit like entering the already saturated MOBA market or making your Overwatch score screens worthless in favor of combating toxicity. Start communicating as honestly and concretely as possible, even if that means admitting you forgot shamans exist. Here's some more advice. Look at developers whose communities love them. Digital Extremes, Grinding Gear Games, CD Projekt Red. These companies do tons of stupid shit all the time, but you know what they do? They sincerely apologize, fix their problems, and learn from their mistakes. I understand these companies are on the smaller side, but that just means you need to put in some serious effort to figure out what your game's communities want. So start engaging with the forums, writing development manifestos, paying attention to top community members, and doing Q&A streams that actually answer relevant questions. Maybe even create polls on how people feel about specific game features, potentially in a way that will directly impact what content gets added to your games. I promise you, you have droves of dormant fans right now just waiting to throw money at you. All you have to do is start listening.
Thank you!
And now for my personal favorite part of the video, I need to thank my Patreon supporters. Or rather, I want to thank my Patreon supporters. I relish the chance to thank my Patreon supporters. We have Real Human since day one, Pete, Zikarak, Squally, Coda, Julia, and our newest member of the club, Alan. Thank you guys so much. I can't express how awesome and amazing it is that anybody would be willing to give me any amount of money to make my silly videos. So, again, thank you so much. If anyone else is interested in supporting me on Patreon, feel free to check me out, patreon.com/NathanBrotherBob. And there's a Discord. Oh yeah, let's put up the Discord. Discord there. That's the Discord. And that used to be just for Patreon subscribers, but now it's for everybody. So go join the Discord and hang out with us because we talk about Path of Exile and lots of good things. And yeah, we're just a jolly bunch. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a great day.